It's Friday night, and the mood is right. Gonna have some fun, show you how it's done, TGIF. Most of you kids are too young to understand what I just did there. Hi, I'm Russell Holiday. This is Nothing is Perfect, and we're here to do a whole bunch of things. I didn't think we were gonna have Canucks news to talk about, but we got Canucks news to talk about, believe you me. So, the original plan when we set up the stream for tonight, we were just gonna sit down, we were gonna construct the roster for the Vancouver Canucks, but things have happened. So, before I get ahead of myself, like I always do at the start of the stream, well, I mean, I get ahead of myself a lot of the time, but let me tell you in order. So, we're going to start off. Oh, I froze. I'm back. It's going to be that kind of night, eh? I think it's because I have Twitter open. Honestly, I think it's because Twitter's open. Twitter's a problem. Anyways, I think I'm back. We're going to start off by saying hello to all you beautiful people who are already in chat waiting for us to get started here tonight. We're going to go through a Rusty and Dusty sideshow. So Dustin Boydell, he'll be coming on. We're going to chat about, like I said, Canucks news in the news. So we got a couple different things. There's also a hockey NHL related thing with the CBA we'll be talking about with Dustin Boydell. And what else the heck are we talking about with Dustin? Abby Canucks. We got a little Abby Canucks news. And so, yeah, we're going to get you up to date. There's a couple things we need to talk about. And then at the end of Rusty and Dusty, we're going to do a roster construction. So we're actually going to sit down and we're going to take all the moves that have happened so far and we're going to put the Canucks roster together line by line together. So if you guys want, you'll be able to get your input in. And we'll see if we can come to some kind of general consensus about what's going to happen with this Canucks roster moving into the 25-26 season. So let's start off like we do. Well, let's actually start off with a cheers. I want to propose a toast to chat. To evil! Oh, yeah. That's a Friday night stream drink for sure. Tasty. All right. Start off. Hellos. Go Canucks, go, says Rod. What's up, Rod? How's it going? From Kamloops. Oh, yeah, and before you got here, Rod, I think it was Calvin 99 Charlie was the first comment, and he was like, 2 whole days? Laugh out loud. And then Van Isle Beauty says, Canucks will be banging them deep next season. We hope so, Van Isle. And then McNally 25. Leafs fan Zach Matz 2. Hey, and then KJ Brazy was Jones in for a live stream. And then Rod came in and said, go Canucks, go. And then I said, here we go. And then I used all the cups of emojis. And then Rod says, hi from Kamloops. What's up, Rod from Kamloops? Swerve and Irvin's in the house. And he says, Dobby, Swear Jar, Go Canucks, go. Crystal, Learn the Rules, Goal, Jake Takes Hockey, Rusty and Dusty, Trevor Linden, Big Mac, Wave, Artie Party, Dobby, Swear Jar, Go Canucks, go. Crystal, Learn the Rules, Jake Takes Hockey, Goal, Rusty and Dusty. Rod, it feels like the Canucks should be coming on when I hear this. Yeah, single tear running down your face, Rod. Yeah, I know. That music coming to grab you and put you into a Canucks game. Holla for $1. Yo, says Big Mac. And then McNally is back. What's up, Zach? And he says, hey. Then Swervener says, Mac Attack. What's up? And then McNally says, Goal, Crystal, Wave. Yeah, Crystal's at work tonight, so you won't be able to see her tonight. I apologize. And then Hachiko's like, membership gone. By the way, Big Hug loves Luke Gazdic. Yeah. And then Swerve and Irvin shows up and he's like, here, Hachiko, let me try and get you a gifted membership. So Swerve and Irvin, thank you very much for the 5 gifted memberships right off the top of the stream. We appreciate you. They go out to JD Davis, Daniel Patterson, Beanchild, and Amy Seymour, all getting free gifted memberships, but not Hachiko. I'm sorry, Hachiko. We'll try again next time. Thank you very much, Swerve and Irvin, for the gifted memberships. Going straight to Dobby's College Education Fund. Big Max's end of the week hanging with my nephew before he goes back to Alberta. What's shaking with you, Swervin? And then Swervin says, what? Hachiko not getting one of those is wild. And then Hachiko's just in tears. And then going back to this, by the way, Big Hog loves Luke Gazdic. So the other day I was hanging out, minding my own business, when all of a sudden, is this junior Canucks camp? More Canucks news. Here it is. So Hachiko sent this over to me. Now, I don't be too upset when you see this, all right? That is Big Hog hanging out with Luke Gazdic. That's his character, Mr. Zarcade, in Minecraft, hanging out with Luke Gazdic. Unbelievable, right? Hanging out. Unbelievable. Sorry, dog. I tried. Your donation is still appreciated and loved. Hachiko, yo! And then Hachiko says, hi. And then Swervin says, seriously, though, I thought with only 6 people in here, you'd get one. My son, Hachiko. Hi, Papa. How you been, son? Brace yourself for Heedle as 2C. Yeah. Hachiko, pretty good. I started another summer class this week, which will keep me occupied till start of fall semester. Good, good. Glad to hear my son is up on his studies. No women in the room, right, though? Winky face, kissy face. Go Canucks, says Rod. And then Hachiko says, only men, Big Mac. JK. Hi, says Big Hog. Big Hog! Big Hachiko! Hachiko, wanna leave this chat and play Minecraft? Laugh out loud. Big Hog, are you the worst mod ever? Hanging out with Luke Gazdic and then ditching your own stream? Unbelievable. Big Mac, oh, Big Hog. Big equals Hog. Let's ditch Russ. I'll donate $100 if you just sing for the entire hour. Sing for your dinner. No, I wouldn't put you guys through that. Big Hog, I exploded the hotel. JK. Yo, I'm Big Mac's nephew. What's up? What's up, Big Mac's nephew? What's going on, Burb? Nice to see ya. Welcome to chat. Your uncle's kind of a big deal around here. And then Big Hog Hockey is crying. Bro's a terrorist. No Krusty? Hello, hello, Russell and chat. What's up, HMS fangirl? Nice to see ya. Welcome to chat. Krusty crying. Hog's first line. Burb is my nephew for real. Too evil! Too evil! Too evil! Let's see who donates to Dobby's college education fund. Swervin already donated 5 gifted memberships. Oh yeah, this is the other thing I wanted to show you guys. North BC represent here. All right. I saw this too just before I came on. I want to show you guys this too. This is Finn on Twitter. Do you notice anything about these seats in Rogers Arena? They're black. These are the new seats. What's Finn doing with that construction vest on? Cup holders! Can you believe it? They put cup holders in at Rogers Arena. Finally. It's been a long time coming. I'm in Hachiko. Winky face. What? Crying. Jumbo, Pang, Chang, Wang, Moby Dick, Ahab. Welcome, Derek. Nice to see you, buddy. Hope Evander Kane is better than Vincent Desharnais. Me too. And then Big Hog Hockey says, no. And then Big Mac says, what? What the heck is going on? And then I'm going to catch up here. There's a whole bunch of people dropping gifted memberships. I'm in Hachiko. What? This is what I meant. I'm in Hachiko. Sent 1 gifted membership. Big Mac dropping a gifted memberships going out to Jazz Iceman. Jazz Iceman getting the free gifted membership courtesy of Big Mac, not to Hachiko, which makes him cry. Big Hog Hockey says, no, Hachiko framed me. Shut out again. Yep. And then Dustin Boydell shows up. Even before he's on the show, he's dropping gifted memberships. And it goes out to Juga Low King 69 Dope. Carol gets one. Nice to see Carol getting one. Flipping All Night. Humongous. Cliff. Anthony Manzano. Glenn D. Big Hog Hockey. And then Hachiko and Calvin 99 Charlie. So at the very end, three of our most regular. Thank you very much, Big Mac, for the gifted membership. We appreciate you. And thank you very much, Dustin Boydell, for the 10 gifted memberships as well, going out and making sure that some of our regulars can keep on enjoying those rare members only stream that we do. But we'll probably do more during the summer since we now have actual time to do it. Because when the regular season and the playoffs were on, we were streaming every other day anyways. There was no time for members only streams. LMAO! He made the statue, finally. W. Dustin. There you go, Hachik. Dusty don't know hype. And then Dusty's just like, Hachiko, may Dusty be blessed with 238,348 riches and wishes. Success! And then HMS Fangirl says, thanks for the stream, Russ. Nice to hang out with hockey fans. I'm the only fan in my household and females fans scene limited. Yeah, there are a couple of ladies that hang out here at Nothing is Perfect. So maybe they'll show up tonight, give you some female hockey fan support. It took over $80 worth of donations. I know. Hachiko, you're expensive. Hello, Irvin. Hey, fangirl. Carol, are you in here? I haven't seen Carol, Irvin. She got a gifted Memby. Black, any other color. Black skate? Yeah, maybe Big Mac. It's all in anticipation of becoming a black skate primary. The seats are coming along quicker than expected, I see. It's too bad some male hockey fans think there's no way females can be hockey fans. What's up with that? People are dumb, man. People are really dumb. You can cheer for whatever you want to cheer for, regardless of what's happening, you know, in your pants. How do I say this without getting demonetized? Swervin, maybe they can recycle the old seats and build a practice facility. Yeah, we'll just build. It'll be like when you take all your cushions and pillows off your couch and build a fort. But they'll do a practice facility out of the old red chairs. Who knows, says Fangirl. And then Big Hug says, Swervin, me and Hachiko have built a practice facility. That's good. All right. Where are we at now? All right. About 7:13. Let's have a C. Dustin is online. All right. Let's move on to the Rusty and Dusty sideshow because we've gone through all the hellos. Oh, and then Major shows up, getting the last hello. What's up, Major Minor? How's it going? You got Casper, the friendly ghost, as your picture now. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, let's get Dustin on the line. I'd have to move some stuff around with all the weird stuff we've been doing lately. As I expected, it's not set up properly. Oh, here we go. Move your face a bit. Yeah. I won't keep you guys waiting. It's been a while. Oh, man, it's been probably like over a week or so since you guys have seen his face. So let's get him on here and get this thing started. The better half of the Rusty and Dusty sideshow, the Silver Fox, Dustin Boydell.
Evening, everybody. Good evening, Russ. How you doing?
Good. How
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. How you been doing?
I've been doing well. Just getting lots of yard work done around the house. Extended a garden bed. Working on getting the hot tub balanced out nicely. So I've been soaking in that and nightly, which has been delightful. Been enjoying the summer with the good weather. Just that one day of rain. So other than that, things have been pretty good. Can't complain. How about yourself?
Yeah.
Doing well?
Yeah, good. Yeah, just busy at work. And actually, me and Crystal got really sick last weekend. So we essentially slept We honestly it was weird. We just slept, and Crystal called in sick to her job, and we ended up watching Happy Gilmore's, not a bad way to spend the
Hey,
weekend.
never a bad watch.
Yeah, getting ready because there's a sequel coming out at some point, so we got to get ready for that.
Yeah, July 25th. I am counting down the days, and they just released the special edition Happy Gilmore Odyssey putter as well.
Oh.
$739. So I don't think we'll be adding that to the bag. But man, I want it so bad.
Yeah. I mean, I got a batleth on the wall behind me, but it didn't cost me $739.
Fair enough.
Just before we get into the main topics, your reaction to Finn putting in some drink holders at Rogers Arena, is that exciting?
I mean, it's great that now everyone is on the same level as the club seats. It took them so long to get cup holders. You could have got little arm extensions to put them in or something. It's like it took till 2025 to get cup holders in the whole building. It seems like a little thing, but it goes a long way when you're looking for somewhere to put that extra drink when you can buy two at once, right? So, I mean, it's only good signs. All black seats, lean into more of the black skate being used, or I mean, black looks good on TV too, because then you can focus on it brings more to the Canucks colors when you have the green and blue on the staircases and things like that. So those burgundy seats were just looking dated and didn't look good on TV. The black blends in more if you don't sell out the building or don't have people sitting in their seats. It kind of just washes out. So it's about time, and the cup holders are a great thing. So
yeah, we were at Rogers for a concert, me and Crystal, and that was one of the first things she's like, "Where did I put my drink?"
Yeah,
nowhere.
exactly.
You hold on to it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Finn. All right, so we were just gonna do some fun roster construction, but then a couple things dropped, so we wanted to go over a few things. So we'll start off with Kane Explained. So you said it was in the Province. I think it's probably owned. I found it in the Edmonton Journal. So Kane did an interview, and essentially talks about the end of his time with Edmonton and how that went down, and then as well the controversy that surrounded him being kicked out of the game and not coming out of the locker room to shake hands, and then goes into some other just talking about being a player of color, playing in the National Hockey League. So let's start off with your thoughts on him, once again explaining that Vancouver was his chosen destination.
Well, I mean, from the sounds of it, I mean, obviously Vancouver's going to spin it however they want to spin it, and Kane's going to say all the right things. I mean, obviously he wants to be closer to home with his parents. Given all the outside struggles he's gone through, he probably needs that family support to keep him on track. As far as having many other options to go to, I don't think that list was very deep. There's been rumors that there were two other teams really close, but I mean, the only person who has ever corroborated that rumor is his own agent. So when it hasn't been supported, or there is no evidence from any other team saying, yeah, we were close on Kane and we're disappointed we didn't get him, the more you think that the Canucks may have been taken advantage of a little bit and swooned by their agent, by the player agent. A lot of the talk about how he had matured and everything, he did give a very good first press conference here in Vancouver. But then when asked the tough questions well, why didn't you come out and shake hands? There's no accountability. It's just immediately the defense of, well, it's happened before in elimination games that guys don't come out and shake hands. And it's well, the key word there is you're saying elimination games. We're talking about the Stanley Cup final right now. You need to have some sort of class and sportsmanship, regardless of how you exited the game. At that point, he's had plenty of time to calm down and make the mature decision to come out and shake hands. Not taking accountability for it and just saying that there's other people who have done it, but can't really name names because I've never really heard of any other player not coming out to shake hands. Um, and then not really saying and not taking accountability for the way he was playing at the end of the game. He's saying, well, it didn't really matter because the season was over. Well, that doesn't give you an excuse to try and take another player's head off.
Yeah.
Like he was swinging his stick around like he was trying to decapitate Kachuk. And so it's just more of what I was worried about with Kane. Like he hasn't clearly really changed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I worry about how he will fit in with the locker room, being the older guy who supposedly had learned all these lessons. And you know what? Maybe when push comes to shove in the regular season, he'll be a benefit for the team. And maybe they can flip him at the trade deadline if he's playing well enough. But I just don't really see him ending up as a long-term fit here. I mean, he's already, 34 years old? Like, and they're talking a long-term fit. It's like he's another middle six winger that if he doesn't stay healthy, he's not going to produce. So I just think it's another caution tale, like when we went down the road with Michael Furland. Obviously, different situation with the concussion issues with Michael Furland, and unfortunate that his career was cut short. But there were those worries with him and the way he played and his attitude towards that sort of thing. And so, when Kane comes into training camp, we will have to see what kind of attitude he brings. And see how the locker room dynamic really works, and if he can mesh with some guys and learn something. But the way he kind of turns it into a racial issue and tries to turn it on the reporter and saying, people treat me differently because I look different. It's like, well, you got to kind of take some accountability for the fact that you've been caught with gambling issues, you've been caught with domestic abuse issues. There's plenty of things that you've been caught doing outside of the hockey rink that you have no one to blame for but yourself, and you've never really taken accountability. He's just run from it and said, well, the media makes me a bad guy because I'm black. Well, no, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what color you are. Any hockey player in the NHL that has those things going on off the ice is going to be talked about. I mean, look at Valerie Nichushkin out of Colorado. I mean, he has had plenty of issues off the ice, but he takes accountability and says, yeah, I'm doing better. I went to rehab. I did the things I needed to do. But doesn't say, oh, there's lots of hockey players that do drugs and go crazy and do all that. Like, that was never something that Nichushkin said. So it's just another, like, blame someone else. Don't blame me. I'm just, and so I have a hard time believing that he has changed.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, I wouldn't be shocked to find out that he is being treated differently because of the color of his skin, because we know that's something that happens, right? Like, it is just a part of our society still, which is unfortunate. However, the color of your skin is not what prevented you from shaking hands at the end of a hockey game, because I've seen some psychopathic stuff in NHL hockey, in the playoffs especially, and people are still shaking hands. The only other time that maybe pops to mind where it really sticks out as like one player snubbing the other player was when Brodeur wouldn't shake Avery's hands after that series ended. And I mean, right? Yeah. People gave Brodeur a little bit of crap for it, for not shaking Avery's hand, but it's not like he skipped the entire line because he hated Avery or something like that. Like, even if right, no matter how much you hate Kachuk, the whole point of hockey is that at the end of the day, it's a child's game, right? It's just a sport. And the whole thing is you on the ice, you are absolutely enemies. And at the end of it, everybody can sit down, shake hands, have a beer. And that's the whole point of the handshake at the end. And that's where I think in this article as well, he talks about his maturity level. And it's like, no, you clearly have not matured, because if you had, you would have put everything else aside and gone out and shook hands at the end. But the other thing I want to do, but I don't think I want to take the time to do, is to look at how many elimination games has somebody been ejected from, and how many times has a person come back from the locker room. Because he says, oh yeah, I've never seen it before. And then off the top of my head, I'm like, I can't think of any, there's nothing that jumps to mind, right? So I'd have to do some digging on that before I even like gave my opinion on whether or not this is something that's happened in the past too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think one of the most recent, like, controversial handshake issues was when Milan Lucic said he was going to kill Tyler Mott next season.
Yeah, like what is
Like,
that,
you know,
right?
so it's like, um, there hasn't really been someone who's snubbed the line ever. I mean, there was the stuff with Paul Maurice saying, "Oh, coaches shouldn't shake hands," and blah blah
Right.
blah. But whatever,
Yeah.
right? That's besides the point. They still were out there shaking hands with the other coaches. He didn't say the players shouldn't shake hands. He said it's about the players and about the war and the battle that they just fought, and the respect for leaving it all out on the ice. And at the end of the day, they're all playing the same sport and they're all trying to achieve the same goal. And one team was better than the other one. You shake hands and you move on. You don't go pout in the locker room. And it was the same with when had the same issue when McDavid didn't come out and accept the MVP trophy. You
Mm.
didn't see J.S. Jaguar go and pout in the locker room when he won for the losing Anaheim Ducks when he won
Mhm.
the MVP. He came out and accepted the trophy with grace and sportsmanship, which is what the NHL should be about.
Yeah. Fangirl Gaming, coming a member once again. 6 months as a member on Nothing Is Perfect. Everything needs to go right for the Canucks to even make the playoffs. No office issues, no major injuries, etc. But remember this, and I read this today, Fangirl, and I wish I could tell you where I read it. When the Canucks had everything go right, they almost won the President's Trophy. And when they had everything go wrong, they still almost made the playoffs. So I feel like they don't need everything to go right. Not to disagree with you too much, but I feel like this team is deep enough. And we'll get more into that once we start working on our summer rosters. But I think this team only has to not have everything go wrong like it did last year, and they'll probably still make the playoffs. So that's kind of my opinion on that.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think there's maybe 3 key points that have to go right.
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3 very key points, but other than that, it's just like any other team. Shit's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Swear jar.
So new CBA has been signed and ratified, which is nice because it's early and we've seen it so many times where it's come down to the wire. But they got it done early. It's going to run through, I think, 29-30. So a couple more years, probably 4 or 5 years or whatever that is. But the interesting thing that they wanted to deal with was in the new CBA was to deal with the LTIR shenanigans that helps players come back for the playoffs and not be counted against the cap. So Dustin, did you read a little bit into that and what that kind of means for what's going to happen moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean that they can't put guys on the LTIR and they can't come back and play in the playoffs. It just means that they may have to sit somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
They can't ice a team over their cap. So whatever their cap average was for the regular season, you can't go above that once the playoffs start, and you have to have your standard roster of 18 players and 2 goaltenders. So, I mean, obviously, it's a great thing. We've seen it happening, and as a fan, I got frustrated with Vegas taking advantage of it, and obviously, it started, I think, with Kucherov, in Tampa Bay. So yeah, it's funny that it took the Canadian team doing it to get attention and get it so quickly thrown into the CBA. But I have a good feeling it was already coming, considering that 3 years in a row, Vegas abused this rule with Mark Stone and went out and got big fish at the trade deadline. Then suddenly Mark Stone is healthy as a horse on game 1 of the playoffs. And so, when you see stuff like that happening, obviously people are taking advantage of the rules. And I mean, the age old adage is if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So, I mean, when there are loopholes, they technically weren't breaking any rules. So you can't really be upset with the fact that they were just being smarter in the business sense than the other teams in the league. Am I happy that it can't happen anymore? Absolutely. So, good on the CBA good on the board of governors for doing that, and also for ratifying the CBA so quickly. I mean, you and I lived through the dog days of like lockout city.
Mm-hmm.
Probably in our prime as hockey fans, like the worst times to get lockouts happening. And they always seem to be just on years where it felt like the Canucks were like on the brink of something special, and then all of a sudden the league shut down. So, um, great news. I'm so happy that this is done early and that they've tidied up a few rules.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I had the rules up there. It's all like legal jargon, but essentially, the day of any playoff game, they're going to have to submit their roster of 18 players and 2 goaltenders that should be compliant with the league's salary cap for that year. So next year, whatever it is, it's going to be like 90 something $million, which we'll get into once we do the lineup. But yeah, I think this means that you can then have people come back, but you can't have them all playing. So for example, if you pick someone up at the end of the year, you still your 18 skaters and 2 goaltenders have to be cap compliant. So that'll make it so you can't sneak too many players on there.
Yes.
Abbey Canucks dropping their schedule already. Brand new schedule came out today. You love to see it. A little crazy, I think. They don't play at home until what is it, the third week of the
24th.
season, right?
Yeah.
So they start on the road down in Henderson, and then they play the Rocket. So what is this start to the season?
Yeah.
They start in
And then to Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas, and then they're in Quebec. And then they come home and play the Ontario Reign, which will be the 24th of October, which will be the night they do the banner ceremony. First banner going up in that arena, so that'll be cool to see. Looking through the schedule, is there anything that stands out for you or anything you're excited about?
Just having a quick look through it, you're not going to get obviously a rematch of the Calder finals, but you can get close to it with all the Eagles series, obviously. I don't see the Texas Stars on there either. No. So, the most playoff like rivalry probably you're going to see is the Eagles. And then again, the Tucson Roadrunners always kind of gave us fits last year. So we'll see if those series play out any differently this year. Obviously, the Abbotsford roster is going to be drastically different as well, given some of the players that weren't qualified and that sort of thing. So, I'm just looking forward to the season start. It's going to be interesting. I'll have some new players to study and I'll be excited to see which players are getting the strong looks up in Vancouver and stuff like that. But a very strange for the champion to have to start on the road and not get that first game of the season at home to raise the banner. But obviously tells me maybe there was some scheduling conflicts within the Abbotsford Center themselves. So maybe that became the issue and they had to start on the road.
I feel like maybe with how quick this schedule came out, there's a good chance that maybe they'd already kind of started writing it even before the season had ended. And then maybe that's why, because obviously nobody expected the Abbey Canucks to end up winning, but who knows? Either way, third week of the season, we'll finally get a raise to the banner. So I think, and that's something me and you have talked a little bit about now that we're in the off season, is we haven't really done any full on Abbey Canucks streams during the year. So we're going to have a quote. Well, wait for the NHL season, the Slackers to get theirs out. We're going to hopefully, maybe that night, that'll be one of the first times we'll do a full Abbey Canucks stream during the regular season for the banner raising or something like that, as long as the Vancouver Canucks are not playing that night.
Yeah, that would be great.
PD Strong. So this is something I just saw pop up on Reddit, and I just wanted to remind everyone that remember that at the end of the year, Pettersson finished very, very strong.
Yes, he did. And everyone was begging to see if the Canucks could make the playoffs, what he could do. But obviously that didn't happen. But I know I've been saying it all along. Just give the kid a chance to train healthy in the off season and come back and surprise you. And I think he will be stronger than ever. And, working on his knees are going to be strong and ready to go. He should be 100%. And I think he's going to shut a lot of people up. And I'm going to love every second of it because not once did I falter on Petey. You cannot give up on a kid that young that has scored that prolifically in the NHL. the issues in the locker room go a long way for a kid like that who's already an introvert and doesn't have a lot of, from what we know, friends or whatever, right? Like, he doesn't have an extensive social life, really. He does get out to like the fashion and concerts and stuff, but he's a pretty private person. So, I just think that he needed Miller to go, for one. Needed Tocchet to go as well, because I don't think that relationship was ever going to repair. So I'm just excited to see him come into training camp, look stronger, look bigger, and just be ready to start the season hot. My concern is who they put on his wings, which we will get to.
Yeah. I just did some quick maths here for everyone. It's very small, but at the end of the season there, the little preview I showed you, or the review, he had 9 points in his last 7 games, putting him at a 1.285 points per game. And if you do that over an 82 game season, that's a 105 point season, right? So, and that was while he was still not 100%, clearly, because once he got to that New York game, he re-aggravated whatever injury he was dealing with and couldn't come back. So 105 point pace to finish the season in the last almost 7 games. So I'm looking forward to see what
in mean nothing games, right?
Exactly.
So just, it wasn't like he was giving up. He was still pushing to the end.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see how he starts. And I think he's the type of person that will be motivated by all the hate that he's gotten. We saw the way he came into the NHL kind of with a chip on his shoulder, where everyone was kind of questioning, what will he or won't he be an NHL player? And that first game when he broke down the wing and scored that goal bar down against Calgary, I mean, everyone kind of closed their lips a little bit right there, and then it was off to the races. And then some injury problems happen. I mean, you go through some growing pains, and you have to learn how to play with certain injuries, like what Demko is going through, right? Like, he's 100% now, but he's still learning to play a different style to prevent injuries like that from happening. That's growth as a player, which PD is going through. Because Pettersson was one of those players that had success so young for the Canucks, we're not used to that, right? We're used to our prospects coming in later and taking time to develop. The Sedins took a long time to develop to where they were actually loved and looked at as great hockey players. Like, the first 5-6 years of their career, people were begging for them to be traded. They were soft. They were never going to be able to skate well. They couldn't do anything. And now they're hanging in the rafters, right? So it's like, people, you have to give it time, especially when there's that much natural talent in the kid. And so I'm excited to see what happens.
As part of the silly season, I've actually seen a whole bunch of people doing this week, but I thought of it first. I didn't get it from them. I wanted to do this because we want to talk about what this roster looks like now that everything's kind of settled down. There was a trade today. Dumba got moved finally to Pittsburgh. Looks like a salary dump. Man, Pittsburgh's really tanking. But we're going to have a look at the Vancouver Canucks roster as it sits right now. So this is Puckpedia, which is great. It's actually very, very cool. We've got the entire Canucks roster on here. Let me actually get rid of this too. So what we're going to do is I've got all of the different players that are available to the Canucks. And if you can see from this forward lines, there's a lot of players. There is not enough space on this roster. So we're going to have to make some choices here. Same thing on defense too, right? We got on this on the right side, you're looking at 5 players and there's only 3 spots for a right side D, right? And then we've also got the 3 goaltenders. So we got a lot to talk about as we go through this. So as we're going through this, you guys, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or things you want to talk about, throw it in chat. We'll keep our eyes on chat as we go. We'll see if you guys are agreeing with what we're doing, disagreeing, and then we'll go from there. So, Dustin, I'll let you do the honors. Let's start things off with the 1C. Who's the 1C for the Vancouver Canucks to start next season?
You got to go with EP40. I mean, he's going to be the guy you lean on now. to drive the offense. He's the highest paid player on the offense. It's going to be his job and his responsibility to push that line. There's obviously a lot of pressure on that, but that's what he's paid to do. So you got to put him in the role that he's paid to do.
Yeah, I completely agree with that one. And I mean, we've talked about this a little bit too, but I would love to see, and I think you'll probably agree with me on this one, is I'd love to see Brock Besser get back on that wing with Petey, because they have obviously had great chemistry over the years with their Lotto line. And Brock Besser now with the new contract, he can just hang out with his buddy Petey and take some beautiful passes, get some good shots, and looks like he's having a great offseason too. Just got back from vacay with great tan with all the pressers he was doing after he signed his contract. So I think that's probably a good start for 2/3 of the top line. Now, this is where things get interesting because pairs are usually the easy part. Dustin, what are you thinking left wing for this top line for them? We got it all the way down. We got Kane, DeBrusk, Dakota Joshua, Hoglander, O'Connor, and Arshdeep Baines, as well. Linus Karlsson Linus Karlsson doesn't play left wing. He plays center and right wing. It's Niels Ahmann who can also play left wing. So there's a whole bunch of different options. Connor Garland can play both sides. What are you thinking for the left wing on the top line?
I think you got to go with Hoglander off the top of the season. If you're going to put Besser with Petey, you need someone going into the corners and getting the puck. And Hoglander's that guy. I've seen people put DeBrusk up there with Petey and Besser, but you're just really putting the cart, or you're just making Petey's job that much harder. DeBrusk and Besser are pretty much the same player from opposite sides of the wing. So neither one of them is really a play driver. They're a guy that relies on everyone else to kind of do the dirty work. DeBrusk is more of a garbage goal in front of the net type guy, and Besser's the kind of hang out at the top of the circles, wait for a pass, and get that nice shot through. Pettersson being a playmaker, he'll have, Besser to pass the puck to for a good shot, but he's going to need a guy like Hoglander that's got the energy and the get up to get into the offensive zone and push that forecheck and get that puck free for Pettersson and Besser to do what they need to do.
Big Hog's pretty stoked. He said Hog first line. That's all he said. He didn't say anything else. He's just stoked that you agreed with him. Calvin 99 Charlie saying Kane, PD, Besser is my first line. I was leaning towards Evander Kane initially because I really think there's potential to have kind of like a Lotto line-esque feel to that, having Kane on that top line. Yep. But I think my problem with having Kane on the top line after thinking about it for a while would be he doesn't quite have the legs that he used to when he was younger. And I don't think he would be able to keep up with the rest of the line. Even though Brock Besser's not the flightest of foot, I think the minutes that he'd be incurring on that top line would probably be a bit too much, especially if he's going to be used in any kind of a power play capacity. And Van Al Beauty saying PD, Garland, Besser. So very similar. Like the Garland is very similar to that Hoglander vibe. So kind of interesting. Yep. You could do that too.
But I don't think you want to. You could, but I don't think you want to put two right-handed shots with Pettersson.
Right. Yeah. Kane, PD, Besser for Box Van Gogh. So yeah, I mean that is option, and that's the thing is there are probably a bunch of different things you could do for that top line, which I think would be successful, and that's a good thing to have on a roster.
For sure. And for me, if I put Kane on, I'm not against Kane being on the top line. Just so everyone's clear with that. But if I'm putting Kane on the top line, I want to see Jonathan Lecker-Mackey up there driving the pace and pushing that line a little more and giving Kane the responsibility of kind of looking out for those guys. Or maybe Connor Garland up there with Pettersson and Kane, just because of the way that Kane plays. Him and Besser and Pettersson, I just think that would be too much. Again, too much legwork for Pettersson. You're just going to chew up his legs way too fast in any game. He's going to be he's already the centerman. He already has to do most of the work. But when you put him with Kane and Besser, then that just adds to it.
Okay, I'm going to quickly pop a poll question in as we go. We can change things up as we go. Everything's fluid today. It's going to be who's top line left wing, and the three ones we've had are Big Hog, Kane, and Garland. So I'll put that out in chat so you guys can discuss amongst yourselves, and then we'll have a look back at that. But as we are right now, let's have a look at the second line. So who is your second line center, Dustin?
Oh, I think starting the season, if he's healthy and comes in out of camp, you've got to give Philip Hedl a look. If they don't move him, they brought him in to be the second line center. You kind of got to give him that role, but Otu Ratu is going to push for that spot hard, I think, this year. He didn't really get to play in the Calder Cup playoffs. He played a bit of one game and then left with injury. But I think just seeing that energy and being around that energy is going to give him that juice when he comes into training camp to kind of push even harder. So Hedl for now, but Ratu is going to be, I think, right there for me.
So second line left wing, I think I'm going to start with. And it's weird because it's kind of a similar discussion from the first one where I almost feel like it's going to be Kane or DeBrusk. And those two guys bring different things, right? So I think the Kane Hedl would be a good combo because obviously Kane is a rough and tumble guy. Hedl is very, very fast. So Kane can create space for Hedl too. But at the same time, Hedl can create space for DeBrusk with the speed, and DeBrusk is really good in and around the net too. And I debated back and forth on this, and I think I'm going to actually end up putting DeBrusk as that left wing. Are we in agreement on that between the two of us?
If you put DeBrusk on the left wing, you got to put physicality on the right wing. So that, for me, probably pushes Sherwood up to the second line next year.
Yeah. So you're thinking Sherwood on the second line there as the right wing?
Just if you're not going to put someone out there to protect Hedl because of, the issues with him, if things get too physical, you need some protection out there. I know a lot of people would probably put Connor Garland in that spot, but I just think that would be a risk of not enough physicality on that line. DeBrusk doesn't really mix it up physically. Hedl is not a physical player, and Garland does almost too much physically for his size. So again, you don't want to overload one guy with too much that he can't handle. Just the way Sherwood's game is made up, it would fit in better with that line kind of being that guy that makes that space for DeBrusk. He can chip it in front for DeBrusk's dirty goals, and he can also create the space with his physicality for Hedl, like you're talking about what Evander Kane would have done.
Yeah. So I'm really thinking for the third line center for this Canucks roster, I think I really want to see Aatu Ratu get that spot. And I mean, barring any kind of setback in his recovery from his injury that he incurred during the season last year, I think he would have a really good chance of getting some really good minutes there. Obviously, really great in the face-off, can take it on both sides, and does have a physical presence, which he showed a little bit more down in the AHL, and obviously has some scoring touch as well because he was scoring pretty much a point a game for the most part to finish out the year. So as long as you're cool with that, we'll leave Aatu Ratu there.
Yep. No, I agree. I would have put him there as well.
Yeah. So now here where things start to get interesting. Obviously still a logjam here. You got Kane, Dakota Joshua, Drew O'Connor, and Archdeep Baines who can all play on the left wing. And then you got Sasson, Teddy Bluger, Niels Amann. We know that Sasson can play on the wing as well. And then we got Connor Garland, Jonathan Leckermack, the young guy, and Linus Karlsson on the right side. What are you thinking for a winger? You can choose either one you want. Pick your choice, left or right.
I think this is... I really think, for some reason, I just have this weird feeling that Evander Kane and Connor Garland are going to be a better dynamic duo than Joshua and Garland were. And I kind of think they would make good wingers for Aatu Ratu. I don't know why. It just, Ratu's not super fast, but he is a skilled player. He can be physical, but Garland has the forecheck. Kane has the physicality, and Ratu has the finish. And I just think that line could be a really productive third line. but at the same time would just grind down any other team. Ratu winning faceoffs like crazy, and Kane and Garland making the forecheck just miserable for anyone. I just think that has the makeups of a really high end third line.
Yeah, I think I agree with that completely. And at the end of the day, too, when it comes to injuries for Kane, it's something that has happened on a regular basis for him. He is 34 years old or whatever it is now. So, and that's the thing is this is a line is good. If Kane gets injured, then you can slot some of these other guys in that have a similar profile, like a Dakota Joshua or a Drew O'Connor that have that physical presence. Maybe not as much of the offensive upside, but it's not like a major shift for putting a new face on that line. So I think I like that for the third line.
Yep.
So now it's getting really hard because obviously, like I said, log jam, right? And I think even before we get into constructing this fourth line, I think it's almost worth it just to look at this and say, okay, what do we think is going to end up happening? Because there obviously needs to be some kind of moves. Max Sasson, I believe, can be sent down to the AHL without waivers. Archie Baines, I believe, can still be sent down without having to clear waivers. And Jonathan Leckерmacky can be sent down without having to clear waivers. Linus Karlsson cannot. If he gets sent down, I believe he has to go through waivers. And then Niels Alman, I think, is waiver exempt as well. So you're looking at three guys here, Teddy Bluger, Joshua, Drew O'Connor, and Karlsson, who are not waiver exempt. And then the rest of these guys, the younger guys, are all waiver exempt. So something tells me Jonathan Leckерmacky, unless he has an incredible training camp, I feel like he's starting the season off down in the AHL.
I agree.
Archie Baines, probably the same thing. He might end up, you could probably see him and Sasson fighting for that 13th forward kind of a spot. But I don't think with the players that are currently on the roster, I don't think these are the two guys who are going to be on that fourth line, at least to start. Is it just by, at this point, default Teddy Bluger's the fourth line center?
I mean, until they cap dump, it's going to be Bluger, because everyone else is probably going to go down. I mean, Oman's likely going to clear waivers.
Yeah.
When you send him down, Baines and Sasson and Leckерmacky are all waiver exempt, so they're going to go down no problem. Karlsson's the wild card if he has a really good camp. But again, they need to make a move. And for me, I think, the Dakota Joshua, putting the emotional stuff aside, I just didn't see enough growth from him from start to finish over the year last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think he needs to probably be moved for like a mid-round pick or something, just to maybe weaponize it later at the trade deadline if you need it to sweeten a deal. Load up on some draft picks at this point. There are a couple teams out there that could use some bottom six wingers, and I think Joshua's kind of one that they could move. Got a cap-friendly contract. He does have some upside, but he is pushing 30. And, I think he's kind of met his ceiling where he's going to be at. And at this point, I think there's just younger guys that are ready to kind of take over the role he has.
There's just this little part of me, Dustin, that just thinks Dakota's going to have a huge bounce back here. And I mean, that is if he's gotten over his, because it did come out after the season was over that he ended up essentially getting a really bad groin injury mid-season, which he played with, as most hockey players do play with. But hopefully he can spend the summer recovering from that, get some good training in, and obviously, if he's over the injuries, that would make him play better. So I almost feel like he's going to come in, and if he has a good camp, I feel like that last fourth line, left wing is for him. And at least to start, right? It's his job to lose, I think. And I think the Canucks will probably give him the benefit of the doubt, especially if he shows up in good shape for the training camp.
Yeah, I agree. And that'll probably just bump Drew O'Connor to the right side to start off the year.
Yeah. So that kind of, I think,
unless Karlsson pushes hard for it, but I mean, this is kind of where I'm thinking it starts. If they do cap dump a couple of guys, then obviously Sasson and Baines get pushed up a little higher.
Yep.
But for right now, I mean, I think we're both pretty much on the same page with how the opening night lineup should look for forwards.
Who's the top line left wing? Big Hog wins the poll. So on that, 38% of people voted to agree with us that Big Hog should be on the top line with Pettersson and
close vote though. Holy,
yeah, very close. The bottom two, Kane and Garland, both getting 31%. So division amongst the ranks, not a surprise, especially in the summertime. But if this forward line is healthy and good to go, I feel like this is a roster that makes the playoffs.
I do as well.
Yeah. Cool. So let's move on to the defense now, because we have them all set up just below here. And again, another log jam. We've got the defense and the goalies on the screen. We'll start on the defense though. Obviously, just picked up the new guy. Finally have a French guy. You always have to have a French guy, right? Like, I feel like when you don't have a French guy on your team, they're just, that's one thing I want to do. I want to go through, is there a Stanley Cup team that has won without a French player? Because I feel like every single team that's won the cup has got to have that French guy, right? So
I think so, yeah.
This one, I don't think we have to debate. Quinn Hughes starts on the third pair.
Yep, 100%. No, I thought he was our top line center, actually.
Yeah, okay, let's get PD and move him down.
Get PD out of there.
Yeah. No, this is I think out of the entire roster, that is the only thing that I think every single person, Canuck fan or not, would agree on, that the left defense top pair is going to be Quinn Hughes.
Yep, I agree.
Probably I would, and that when Quinn Hughes is healthy at this point, I'd say he's top 5 best player in the league.
Absolutely. I agree.
Now, it gets a little interesting when we talk about his D pair, and I'll give that to you because there is options, right? Because I don't want to deal with this. Classically, you go with the Hronek, right? The nice Czech guy.
Yeah.
He had played well with Tyler Myers, and Tyler Myers in limited minutes with Quinn Hughes did have some success. You got the young guy, Victor Mancini, who could be an option as well, probably still a little raw for that position. And then Tom Willander, if you're completely out to lunch, you'd probably just throw him on the top pair right off the bat, even though he hasn't played any time in the NHL, but is a 20-year-old coming out of college, right? With, every time I watch a video on an expert talking about Tom Willander, they talk about how he's NHL ready and he's smooth and he's great and he's a right-handed shot. And that could be perfect for Quinn Hughes, but Dustin, like I said, I leave it to you. Who you choosing to play with Quinn Hughes?
I mean, barring any surprises out of camp, I think Adam Foote is going to stick with Philip Hronek with Quinn Hughes. We've tried to see Hronek drive his own pairing before. We haven't really found the right person to play with Hronek. Do I think him and Marcus Pettersson would work well together? Absolutely. But then it's the, which one of the young guys is going to be able to step up into that spotlight and play with Quinn Hughes? For me, it's more Mancini, whose style would fit better with Quinn Hughes, because yes, he can skate the puck, but it's not his number one priority. He'd be a good bailout for Hughes when need be. But at the same time, he's more physical than Hronek and can kind of protect Quinn out there a little bit more than Hronek can. So just his makeup, I think, would suit better. But obviously, just for the start of the season, you go with Philip Hronek and you just see what happens in the first kind of 10 games.
I had a love-hate relationship. I almost had a hate relationship with Hronek. But no, I had a love-hate relationship with Hronek last year because I felt like there was times where he was absolutely incredible, and I thought like he was just a defensive liability out there a lot of the time too. Hopefully we can find something in between there. But I mean, obviously playing on a line with the best defense from the whole league is going to make you seem a little better than you are. But either way, Phil Hronek seems to be a really good pair for Quinn Hughes, and they statistically are one of the most dominant defensive pairs in the entire NHL, and the numbers back it up. So I'm fine with putting Hronek there.
For sure. And for me, like it's really close. I'd really like to see Mancini with him. Just because I watched so much of Mancini in the last bit of the Abbey season and then the playoffs. I mean, he's not an AHL player anymore. He is definitely needs to be in the NHL. And he's going to push his way up that lineup very quickly if he gets the minutes.
Yeah. It's crazy how all of a sudden the right side of the Canucks D is such a long jam, because you got obviously Tom Willander, who's now going to be joining the organization. And then, like we said, Victor Mancini, who is a men among boys through the Calder Cup playoffs. And then Derek Forbort as well. Actually, I have him on the wrong side. He's a left-handed defenseman. So that actually makes it easier. But I think I'm still going to stick for the second pair. I think Tyler Myers is a good spot there. 35 years old, but still seems to be in really, really good shape. Saw him on the prospects camp, giving some speeches out to the kids and giving them some advice. So a leader in the room, and was able to handle some elevated minutes. When we went through the extended stats that you want, but you don't really need, Tyler Myers was one of the highest minutes getting guy for the entire season for the Canucks. And I think he can still handle it, even though he's 35, he's got that big frame. So I think for me, Tyler Myers is your second line right D. Who would you pair up with Mr. Chaos Giraffe there, Mr. Dustin?
Oh, man. With the left D that we have, oh, man. You got to put one of the young guys with Pettersson. So I'm thinking you got to go Forbort.
Forbort with Tyler Myers?
With Myers. Yeah, but I think there got to be third pairing.
Yeah.
I think you can push Myers down the lineup now, because I think Mancini or Willander can both handle the second pairing. I just think Willander or Mancini could definitely handle that. But again, like it when you get kind of those second and third pairings, when you got Quinn Hughes, they're kind of interchangeable these days. So I think Forbort and Myers makes sense as pairing number 2. I think you can leave him in the 2 slot or in the 3 slot, either one.
So you think
I'd like to see Myers push down the lineup.
So you're seeing Marcus Pettersson then as the second line lefty?
Yeah, second line lefty, and then it's gonna be one of the young guys. I think they start Mancini there. Give him a shot because of what he did in the AHL, and then let Willander play a couple months in the AHL at actual pro level hockey. Like, yeah, he's played the NCAA and everyone says he's ready for the NHL, but just give him a little bit to marinate. It's great that they got him signed and everything to the entry level contract, and everyone wants to see him play, but that's the thing, is like I need to see him play before I'm ready to commit to putting him in an NHL lineup. I've seen lots of highlights of the kid, and yeah, he looks great, but I haven't really seen many games start to finish of him playing, so I don't really know if what everyone is saying is true. I'd prefer to see him start in Abbotsford so we can get a look at what he's actually bringing to the table before I'm like, yeah, get him in the lineup.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure our French guy, unfortunately, I don't think we'll be playing for the Vancouver Canucks this year. I think he is going to be replacing Mr. Willander down in Abbotsford, because I don't think Willander's going to be back with the Abbey Canucks next year, because he's getting older and they want to keep the spots open for young guys. But P.O. Joseph is still only 26 years old, so he's got 4 years younger than. But then if you're saying Willander then also plays down in the AHL, that means DPD is going to end up being our 7th defenseman.
Yep, and you know what? It might be interchangeable with POJ and DPD with that 7th spot.
Yeah.
Joseph is a little more NHL ready, if you will. He's played more games, but and he's also another Alvin pet project.
Yeah.
Former Penguin. I think he was acquired in the Kessel trade. When he's a Coyotes draft pick when they traded Kessel to Arizona. Oliver Joseph was one of the acquired prospects in Pittsburgh, and that was the Alvin Rutherford era. So obviously another known player to the GM. And so we'll see where he ends up, but maybe just doing him a favor and getting him a contract, because maybe he's destined just to be an AHL defenseman.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think him and DPD obviously benefited from some injuries this year, but is young enough to probably spend one more year developing in the AHL.
Mhm.
Had to play, obviously, given the situation we were in, but going into a season like this, you want to have your veterans out there, kind of keeping everything under control with the uncertainty in the dressing room and all that. Get the young guys kind of back to Abbotsford to settle out their development. That's kind of why I have Mancini up a little higher, just because he is 23. He
Mhm.
has developed longer. He did play NHL games for New York as well before he even came over here. And just watching him play this off season, he's definitely ready for more responsibility.
I hate to say this, but I actually disagree with you on the defensive pairs. So we're gonna have to do a
There you
poll
go.
question here. Do you agree
Yeah.
with Dusty or Rusty for the D pairs? And I'll put the poll question up, and then I'll show you what I think I would change. Here we are. And then we'll put in Dusty, and Dusty's going Hughes Heronic. I don't think I'm gonna actually be able to put this in here, so I'm just gonna do Dusty and Rusty and keep it on the screen. All right.
Yep.
I'll put the third option. They both wrong.
They
Fair
both
enough,
wrong.
right? So the only thing I would probably change is I still really think, at least to start the year, you're probably going to see Tyler Myers on that second pair, and I think you're going to see this all year long.
Yep.
Right? The two young guys on the defensive pair with Derek Forbort, and then obviously, depending on the health of Derek Forbort, and obviously just his ability to keep up. He is 33 now, so a little bit longer in the tooth. So there is a chance that you might even end up seeing stuff like this, right? So you got DPD who can play both sides, right? So you might even see that
Yep.
for the odd game too, right? Where it's just, I think that's kind of what I'm thinking they're going to end up being. It's just going to be flip, 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 right? But it also depends,
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
Because Marcus Pettersson and Tyler Myers, at times they looked amazing together, and there was other times that they looked like trash.
yeah. I mean, they're both older guys. Myers, obviously, the oldest guy on the team now. So that's kind of where it's like I'd love to see his minutes limited in some way, because I think Myers performs better when his minutes are limited, and I think yeah, I don't disagree. That's probably the option B I would go with. Absolutely. Um, yeah, I don't know what Foot's gonna do, but I mean it's a hell of a problem to have, right? Like, remember before what it would be like going through defensemen and seeing who was gonna be called up? It's like, oh, yay, we get
Oh, Juleson's back in the lineup.
yeah, exactly. Like, oh man,
Currently,
it's a good
the
problem to have.
50% of the people are voting that we're both wrong. So we may have to just completely alter this. But for now, we're gonna see what the people think while we go over to talk about the goaltenders, because how can you have a goaltender who is only 24 years old and already has 2 MVPs as a goaltender and let him walk away from your organization? But that might be what's happening with Artur Silovs, because there might not be space for him.
I mean, the writing was on the wall when they signed Demko to the long-term deal. But then again, yeah, I mean, you have Lankinen under contract with a no trade clause, and you extended Demko. So I mean, you basically told Shilovs, "Sorry, we're not gonna play you in the NHL." Like, what is he gonna wait 5 more years, and you're gonna bring him up when he's 30? He's gonna go to another team. Like, if they try and move him through waivers, he's gonna get picked up for nothing. So, I mean, their best bet is to try and trade him while his value is the highest it's ever been. The unfortunate thing is they did that Demko extension before they got a trade done for Shilovs, which then devalued him because the Canucks are backed into a corner.
Because Canucks management is what it is, that means Dustin is saying it's going to be Demko and Lankinen as your first and second goaltender to start the year, probably, right?
Absolutely, unless you go to Lankinen and ask him to waive his no trade clause that just made him sign, but then you're also burning bridges with free agents and making it look like you don't give a shit as an organization. So it's just the business side of things that Alvin does that frustrate me a little bit. Granted, he does make some good decisions and has a good eye for prospects, but the order in which he does things to this day baffles me. The way he talks about some of his players in public makes me shake my head. I don't think it's the best way to motivate people. And I think he handcuffs himself and ends up having to give the excuses that the deals weren't there because I think he overplays his hand a little bit, overvalues our players, and also puts himself in situations where people know he has to make certain moves. So at the end of the day, you might have to just take it on the chin and take a mid-level pick for somebody like a Joshua or a Bluger and just do the business and dump the cap space because you have some young guys that you want to feel like they are included in the organization. You want to feel like the organization wants them. You drafted them for a reason. You traded for them for a reason, that young. But then to make business moves that basically backhandedly tell them, sorry, not a spot for you, see you later, is just kind of callous and careless. And I think it's going to lead to a few issues in the near future for Alvin, where he's going to have to take some bad trades just to get out of a bit of a mess here.
Sounds like Dustin sending his steak back to the chef.
Too much salt.
Oh, we got all the non-roster players down here, a bunch of them, so these guys all don't count. But it is interesting to see the Canucks do have 4 goaltenders already signed, along with the goaltender they just drafted, who they've also already signed to his ELC. So the Canucks currently have 8 goalies signed in their system.
However, I will say that these are some of the good business decisions that Alvin makes. Signing those entry-level contracts and making sure that these guys don't go into the new NCAA and get money there and then are committed to the NCAA, and you have to wait till their commitment to them is over before they can even come back to you. This is a very smart play, and I'm happy that they will. I mean, it tells you that Coots is either going to be in the WHL or the NHL. Those are the only 2 spots for him. So he's going back to junior to continue his development. Then when he's old enough in 2027, if he's not making the Canucks team, he will be going to the Abbotsford Canucks team, and then he will sign his next contract after that. But, and the same goes for Alexei Medvedev. That's just good business. All signs kind of point to him being the starter in London this year. So hopefully that's a good decision for his development. And, the Gavin McKenna signing the $700K deal to go play for Penn State changes everything, right? So it absolutely forces the NHL to kind of move forward with their very top prospects and decide where they want them to develop and how they want them to develop. And it also changes everything for the CHL. And I think in the long run, it's going to basically create a balance in the sense of, 16 to 18-year-olds are going to play more in the CHL, and 18, 19, 20-year-olds are going to go play in the NCAA. And then when they're done after 20, that's when they'll go into their NHL stuff. That's just kind of where I see the future going with that new business of them being able to pay players to come play.
Well, Dustin, you'd be happy to know also that everyone agrees with you. At least 50% of this chat agrees with you. 37% are saying we're both wrong, and 12% agree with me. So thank you to the 12% who actually agree with me. So we're going to demote Tyler Myers to the third defensive pair, and we're going to move Victor Mancini back up. We're going to have Elias Pettersson as the seventh defenseman. So as we look at it now, this is what we are determining is the Canucks starting roster for the 25-26 season. Top line of EP40, Hoglander, and Brock Besser. Jake DeBrusk, Hedel at center with Kiefer Sherwood on the wing. Evander Kane coming in on the third line with Ratu and Garland. And the Dakota Joshua, Teddy Bluger, and Drew O'Connor on the fourth line with Linus Karlsson as your 13th forward, with all these players going down to the AHL for more seasoning. And then the defensive pairs come in with Quinn Hughes, Hronek, Pettersson of the Dragon variety, and Mancini with Derek Forbert, Tyler Myers, and DPD as your seventh defenseman, with Thatcher Demko and Kevin Lankinen as your two goaltenders, and then both Tom Willander and P.O. Joseph ending up in the AHL. And Shelovs, who knows? They might even try and sneak him down to the AHL. It might be possible, because who knows if Patera is going to just vanish again. So they might need that third goaltender down in the AHL. But yeah, as far as we're concerned, this is what, as of right now, the roster is going to look like moving into the new season.
I don't hate it.
No.
I've seen worse rosters in the NHL, to be honest.
So before we go off of this, I just want to ask, what you said there's three things that need to go right for the Canucks on this roster. Oh, can you point out using this chart what the three things are?
Obviously, PD needs to bounce back, for sure. Like, that has to go right. Like, he has to stay healthy and come into camp. And I mean, if that doesn't happen, then things are going to go sideways in a hurry. Number two is you need Demko to stay healthy, because you're likely going to lose Shelovs and not have the same type of insulation. You're going to have Tolopilo coming back and forth, not Shelovs anymore, if you run into an injury issue. So that's the second thing, because I don't see Shelovs being a Vancouver Canuck or a Canuck in any capacity in the 2025-2026 season. I just can't see it happening. So that's number two. And then number three, obviously, is Quinn Hughes has to stay healthy. If Quinn Hughes gets a long-term injury, that pretty much puts a wrap on most things.
Yeah.
So those are the three things that absolutely have to go right for the Canucks. Quinn Hughes can miss 5 to 10 games in the season if he gets banged up here or there, but a long-term injury to Quinn Hughes would be catastrophic, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the absolute three key points. And I know they seem obvious, but those are the biggest ones for me. There's many other things that have to go right, like all that sort of stuff. But those are the three big ones for me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If those three happen, those three things go right, the Canucks are in the playoffs.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. Even when we're looking at these guys that are going to be down in the A, there are some talent here that can come up, fill up in the bottom six. So I'd say like a 3.5. The other thing that maybe like half has to go right is we can't have any devastating injuries to our top six, because I think if we lose PD again, even if we lose Hoglander, Besser, who, all these guys all had injuries last year. Jake DeBrusk is one of the only players who played pretty much the whole season. I feel like we've got a lot of content that can fill in on the bottom 3 and 4th line, but I don't know if we have as much that can move up to the top pairs. Maybe Lekkerimäki can fill in Lekkerimäki Karlsson, but each one of these players is probably going to be a downgrade on a Brock Besser on that top line. Yeah. So there it is. There's Mr. Tolopilo, and Patera, just to confirm, he is on the roster. You kind of get an idea too of what you might look at for the Abbey Canucks. So if we even just grab PO from up here and move him down to the pairs down here, you probably have a good idea of what it's going to look like for the defensive pairs down in Abbotsford. Goaltending is going to be a logjam. So like we said, they got to figure that out. And then if we move the guys down from up here, the Baines, Sasson, Lekkerimäki, and Amon, that pretty much fills out the Abbey Canucks roster down here as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Obviously, we could use a more bona fide top 6 player.
Mhm.
But I think, we could see some guys overperform. I mean, it does happen. Um, Again, Lecker could have a great preseason. He was injured throughout a lot of the playoffs, but when he came back, the last 2 games he played, he started to look really comfortable.
Mhm.
And he did have a really great regular season in the AHL when he did play in the AHL. So curious to see kind of where he's at when he comes into training camp, if he's kind of beefed up a bit or is more motivated because of the Calder run.
Mm.
If he makes that jump to being ready, then I'll feel a little more comfortable not having another top 6 on the roster, but I still would like to see maybe a little more insulation in that avenue.
Yeah.
Because we are still repurposing a middle 6 guy into more than he should be playing. So I just that's one of the biggest things for me is like we need to find a way to move someone to get something in that top 6 a little more, guaranteed point guys.
Dustin, is there anything you want to say to chat before I let you go for the rest of the night?
Oh, I appreciate the questions and the comments and the support. Thank you for agreeing with me. No, just kidding. To be fair, I do think that Mancini and DPD are going to rotate in and out, but I think pairing them with Marcus Pettersson is just a better training ground for both of them. Plus, you get to see the Pettersson duo out there and a chance to see PD to PD to PD. So,
Yeah.
I mean, for me, that's just heaven.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to be on again. Missed you all. Congratulations to those who got the gifted memberships. I'm happy to see 3 of our regular chatters get 3 of them. And I hope everyone has a great weekend. Again, appreciate all the support and thanks for dropping by.
Cool. Thanks, Dusty. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and we'll chat again soon.
Talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Dustin Boydell, the Silver Fox, stopped by to help us figure out the Canucks roster, the silly season, as we call it. It's always fun to see that, man. All right, let's hop back in chat before we finish things up. I'm excited to see how Willander will perform in the preseason, as we have 6 games this season. Yeah, before it drops to 4 the next year. Green, Hughes, Willander, Marcus Hronek, DPD Myers, or Phil Hronek, and Willander. Then we still have Forbert, Joseph, Mancini, Minio, Kudratsev. I think we traded D-Man. Yeah, you might be right, Green. And welcome to the stream. I've seen you comment a couple times. Nice to have you, Green. But yeah, I think I'm starting to feel similar, I think, to you. They might end up trading a defenseman because it seems like it's a bit of a logjam. And then Major Minor shows up and he's like, hey, guys, I feel like we need to give out some more gifted memberships. And it goes out to Mike Torrance, Skytrain Canuck Elfrin, and Connor Cahill, and Erwin Aquino, and Thomas Hornbrook. So congratulations. Mike Torrance in chat saying, cheers, Major. And Major says, yes, sir. Big Oz says, love you, Dustin. Thank you for the membership. Thank you very much, Major Minor, for the 5 gifted memberships. We appreciate it. Coming in as your Santa Claus ways takes you into there. That's good to see. Thank you very much, Major Minor. Russ, what about playing Myers on the right wing line? Yes, let's do it. Let's see. Does this even let me do this? So Tyler Myers, where is he? Can I move Tyler Myers to forward? You can. So we're gonna put him on the right wing, right? So we'll replace Kiefer Sherwood with Tyler Myers. How about that? Oh my gosh. No, that would be priceless. All right, back to the bar. Sherwood, Hedel, Besser. Yeah, that's not a bad one either. The physicality of Sherwood, the speed of Hedel, and the hands of Besser. Hedel and Sherwood probably create space for Besser. I do kind of like that. Van Isle, welcome to the show. Myers here is here because Myers wants to be here. Imagine wanting to trade someone who wants to be here is beyond me. The Calvin. Boo, Lanky and Shelovs. Yeah. If Demko's healthy, he's one of the best goalies in the league, and I will happily have him on the roster. But can Demko stay healthy? Sherwood, Myers, Myers centers. Yes, let's get Myers at center. Oh my gosh, Green. Let's not worry so much about Shelovs or return for him. We have three other goalies better or potential for better future than Shelovs. Medvedev is the goalie of the future. You are correct on that one. It will be interesting to see who will be the Canucks' permanent third goalie per the new CBA rules after the season. Yeah, good point, fangirl. There will be a third goaltender added to the roster starting with the new CBA. So I don't know if that's going to be a full goalie like an NHL player. If it's going to be, it'll be interesting to see how that all breaks down. Green says Dak, Bluger, Shelovs will be traded this year, hopefully prior to the season, but by the deadline at worst, in my opinion. Something tells me they might get traded in the preseason, like training camp preseason. I think that might be when they make some moves. I want Lanky and Shelovs and trade Demko for a 2C. There might not be a 2C available. McKenna will end up in Pittsburgh. It's written in the stars. Yeah, Lemieux to Crosby, Crosby to Lemieux. Book it. And then Major Minor coming down and dropping a $2 gifted membership into the chat. Thank you very much for the $2 dono, Major Minor. So many interesting potential combos. Yeah, and that's the thing, is there is a lot of potential for a whole bunch of different line combinations. Myers needs agility and hand-eye coordination training. I mean, we could probably all use that. Demko on only making 5 this year. Only makes 5 this year. Yeah, so he's still not into his big contract too. Skinner makes the same amount of money as Demko. Yeah, I know, but 8+ for 3. Yeah, that'll happen starting in the next year. Mike Torrance, welcome to chat. Van Isle, if we could only install more eye in back of Myers' heads, then we'd be aware of his surroundings. Yep. I'll be joining the server. I'm bringing my nephew as well. Could get a 2C, just trade Demko and a guy. Then you're trading away Demko and hopefully not to one of our rivals. Myers plays a few games on right wing. We have to see it. Yeah, I hope so. Nice. And if he has a healthy season, that's fair value for Demko. Yep. Myers would absolutely crush it at center. So would Hughes. Sorry, as a forward. Green, Canucks won't continue with 13+ million in goaltending. This is the year to either see if Demko can stay healthy or trade him and move forward with Lank. It's next year where we will lose one of these guys. Oh, interesting. So you think they're going to be able to hang on to Shelovs then? I get it, Green, but I'm more hasty. Guerrero, 1,000 career hits. Congratulations, Vladimir Guerrero, on your 1,000 career hits for the Toronto Blue Jays. Green also heard rumors that they may try Dak at center. He played some center in junior. He has size and about 50 or 60 faceoffs a year. Already interesting thought, especially in our position. Green, I'm the one who said that. It was me. You heard it from me. I've been pushing this narrative. I think they should try Dakota Joshua at center. He's really good on the faceoff. He's got size. And as long as his foot speed has been improved over the offseason, I think he'd be a good addition to the center. I started the rumor, but he was actually playing at center all the way until he was in St. Louis. And then that's when he stopped playing center. Demko would have been traded last season if I were in charge. And the lack of centers. Noise. Hachiko, yeah, man, I made it on AI. Huh. You forgot everyone has to get along. Yep. Jet who? Jet woo! Trade Lek. You want to trade Leckermacki? Yeah, there's been people floating that one too. On first. Laugh out loud. Who flung? Woo! Jet did. Lek seems like a worse Petrie, but he needs time. Needs to take roads ASAP. Huh. Roids. No, you're not allowed to do that in the NHL. Exactly. We are stacked in the middle talent. We still lack elite talent. Yep. He's not Bond's major. Laugh out loud. Burroughs is taking roids. Worked for him, in my opinion. Burroughs was taking roids. What do you can't take, you get drug tested in the NHL. Dusty! Ha ha ha! Mike Torrance. Check. Bob Bluger. All right, Horn Dog. Very nice, Major. Casper, the best ghost around. Era Hart. Hello, at Hachiko. What's up, Era? Casper lives in a complex, paradoxical universe. Now put Demko on defensive line like Goldberg in Mighty Ducks 3. Huh. Can we move a goalie into defense? I think, no, you cannot move a goalie to a skater only slot. It's official. My head's in the way, though. You can't read that. That's funny. That's very funny. I want to move my head out of the way so you can see it. Okay, I'm going to move Demko over. Oh, no, I moved the whole overlay. Oh, my God. What am I doing? Okay, let's try this. We're going to move him over to defense. Nope. Cannot move goalies to skater position. All right. So it is official. We cannot make Thatcher Demko a defenseman like Goldberg in Mighty Ducks 3. Back to the bar. Hello, I am Hachiko's girlfriend. Hart, what's up, Hachiko's girlfriend? Lanky Deep. Oh, yeah, Era, I remember you. You came on the show. Welcome, Era. Nice to see you again. Or else what? Hello, Era, says Big Mac. Big Mac, you can give Era the shakedown. She's dating your son. Hello, father-in-law. Oh, hi, Era, says Burb. Oh, there's the. So if Burb is your nephew, Big Mac, and Era is dating your son, that would mean Burb is Era's cousin, right? Era and Hachiko sitting in a tree. Should have got Brent Burns and put him at forward. Yeah, put him back at forward. Era, peace. Has my son been treating you nice? And Big Hog's laughing and crying. You beat her? He has, somewhat. Time and place, folks. Can we stay on hockey related? Winky face. I saw that, Hachiko. Good, Hachiko. Okay, well, you don't listen sometimes. I have to. That's what I do. Casper the Ghost can see 360 degrees. Every ghost has that ability. What? JD's in the chat. That's a lie. What's up, JD? I agree, says Burb. It's a lie if you believe it. Don't they have normal eyes like us? Era, wink twice if you're in danger. Green, I didn't hear it from you, Russ, but I'll give you 15% finder's fee. Perfect. Thank you. I'll take the 15%. I'll always take the 15%. I'll take whatever I can get. Oh, my goodness. Oh, as I laugh maniacally for no reason. Let's see. I think Dobby is making some woofy noises in his sleep. Dobby's making woofy noises. I would bring him over, but that means he's completely asleep. Unfortunately for Dobby. Every ghost has the ability to digest food, but shit it out 2 seconds later, laugh out loud. Yep. According to Casper the Ghost movie, they literally have no body, just a figure. Yep. We need Lucic on a PTO. Can you imagine, JD? Lucic and Kane on this team? Green, not a big deal if you get busted for what Ekblad did and Florida got cap relief. Yeah. For the performance enhancing drugs like WTF. Yeah, can you believe that? Why do they get cap relief for their player being on steroids? That's a lot of roids. They're hidden with chems in the urine to neutralize them. Demko 2C. That's 9 a.m. my time. Era high. Play Demko as a 2C. Laugh out loud. Is that JD Vance? Did y'all see that meme of him? Laugh out loud. No, we can't talk about it. Otherwise, you can't go to the States. If you have that picture on your phone, they won't let you in. Just remember, just 15% is tariffs you owe me. What? I owe you? What the heck? WWW. Tariffed. If anyone wants access to my Olympic hockey spreadsheet, let me know. Huh. Oh, that's true, Calvin. Okay, kids. I hope you guys enjoyed the other day. We had a couple of different guys on this week on Nothing is Perfect. Let me bring it up here. Bring up my own YouTube page here. So we had Dave Hall from Canucks Army on Thursday, which was kind of fun. Very cool to see him. Nice guy. Got his insights. And then yesterday we had Larry Fisher, who is a WHL pro hockey group scout and also runs his own thing called Fish Bowl Sports. So we had a couple of different guys on to do a getting to know you. So I'm happy to say we got 2 more getting to know yous coming up this week. We are going to have, actually, I'll show you guys. So the first guy is he is a content creator for the Winnipeg Jets. So him and his brother actually run a YouTube channel, and it's called the Nolan Hockey Podcast. Their last name is Nolan. Zach is the one I've been chatting with. So I'm going to have a chat with him. We're going to do our getting to know you with him. And then we're also going to be chatting about the offseason for the Winnipeg Jets. And then back to the bar. The other guests that we're going to have on, somebody give me a drum roll, please. Big Hog already knows this one. This is the other guy we're going to have on this week. And you might know him because he's the play-by-play guy for the Abstract Canucks. So I'm really excited to say this week I'm going to be chatting with Brandon Astle. He's going to be coming on. You'll probably get that video on Thursday this week coming up. So Brandon Astle is going to join me. We're going to be doing the getting to know you, Brandon Astle. And then we're also going to be talking, like I said, with Zach Nolan, who runs a YouTube channel with his brother out of Winnipeg. So a couple of guests coming up. So that's kind of going to be the plan. I'm going to try and stream at least once a week for the summer. We're probably going to try and get that up to 2 times a week at least. We're going to be doing some more. Thank you, Burb, for the drum roll. I appreciate it. Oh, Russ, you didn't change getting to know you to episode 2. No, Calvin, it's not. It's getting to know you only. So this is what's going to happen. So every person who comes on the show on Nothing is Perfect, their very first episode is always called Getting to Know You. So you can see it here under the video. So, and you'll see it too if we go even further back, Calvin. So Getting to Know You, Larry Fisher. Getting to Know You, Dave Hall. And then Getting to Know You, Sully, right? So that's the thing. Everyone who comes on the show, they get their own first episode. So the first episode of Sully is Getting to Know You. And then the next episode will be episode 2. And then the first episode of Dave Hall is Getting to Know You, Dave Hall, episode 1. So it's Dave Hall. So it's Nothing X Dave Hall, episode 1. And then it's Larry Fisher X Nothing, episode 1. So then these guys, when they come back on, they'll get Nothing X Dave Hall, episode 2. Does that make sense, Calvin? Does that? I hope that makes sense. Great stream, bro. Thank you. Very welcome, Green. Thanks for being here, man. It's nice to have you. I like your energy. I thought you were going to get my reference on Casper. Laugh out loud. Yep. Eating all that food and it just drops right out their booties or their backsides. I love tariffs. What? Night all. Have a great weekend. Good night, bro. Burb. Nope. Been years since I've seen that movie. Oh yeah. Here where I am. There's this called Terra Ifs. Laugh out loud. Thanks, Russ and Mods. You're very welcome, Mike Torrance. And thank you, Mods. Nice night, Green. I watched one of the kids, but gotta watch the other. Anytime, Mike. LTIR should be LVIR. Las Vegas Instant Relief. The pioneers of circumventing. Yep, true. Laughing and crying. Drum roll. There it is. Mike Torrance. Check. Drum roll. Everyone's getting the drum roll up for me. I love it. Calvin, laugh out loud. Are you in Van, bro? No, Calvin lives in Prince or close to Prince George. Yeah, Brandon Assel, watch that pronunciation. Absolutely. We should call it Making Friends and Winning with You. Oh, okay, I was confused. I'm glad that cleared it up for you, buddy. Though there is yet to be a section of Big Mac and the Captain, the junk food. I think I have you under I have a playlist that is all the Canucks content. So I think that's what I have you under. Big Mac. Big Mac, Big Mac, Big Mac. Sorry, I wasn't too active making dinner. What's new? Yeah, it seems like you're always cooking, Swervin. All right, kids. We're going to call it there for the night. We've been live for an hour and 50 minutes, which is longer than I planned, but I love you guys. So we stayed together and had some fun. Good to have Dustin on. So thank you very much to Dustin for coming in. Let's have a quick look at the donations because you guys donated a lot tonight. Swerve and Irvin gifting 5 gifted memberships. Thank you very much for that. Big Mac also giving a membership. Paragrapher Pro showing up. Dustin dropping 10 memberships as he arrived. HMS Fangirl, thank you very much. HSM Fangirl Gaming, 6 months as a member. Everything needs to go right for the Canucks to even make the playoffs. No office issues, no major injuries, etc. Thank you very much for becoming a member again. And then Major Minor says 5 gifted memberships. So thank you very much, Major Minor. And then also donating $2 to say so many interesting special combinations. That is absolutely correct. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for being here tonight. More content coming up. I might try and sneak in a stream early next week, but I'll make the announcement. I'm going to be working on a video tomorrow night. That's the other thing. I've been diving in. We're going to do a little bit of some recaps for some of the streams that we did last year. So hopefully I'll be able to get one of those up for you this weekend. So the plan moving forward, so everyone knows, recaps on the weekend, interviews during the week, streaming on the weekend, and then maybe a stream sometime early in the week too. But yeah, until next time, everyone, thank you everyone for being here. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you stopping by. And especially thank you to Dustin for coming on the show and to help me out with the Rusty and Dusty Sideshow and the roster. And thank you to everyone for your comments tonight. So until next time, remember, my name is Russell Holiday. This is Nothing is Perfect, and make sure that you make good choices.